Hello everybody and welcome to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
And my name is Ashton.
She didn't have to put a voice on.
I didn't have to put a voice on.
Ashton's not well.
I'm sick.
But you came in especially to talk about video games with us today.
I did. Because
very
I
kind.
literally could not stare at the walls of my flat anymore.
Oh,
If any of the Cultaholic podcast hosts get sick in the next week, and they happen to be sat using that microphone number two,
number 2.
then
Sorry about it.
It's Ashton's fault.
Whoops.
Or if me or Ben happen to get sick in the next couple of
I still
days.
think it's the sick that you guys had a couple weeks ago.
Really?
the sick.
The
sick.
The
It
one
was,
that was
thing is,
going
it was
round.
longer than a couple of weeks ago now. It was about a month ago.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't that long ago, I don't think. Well,
was.
Alex had it last week.
Alex has got something.
He's had a cold.
Is it the same one or
Well,
is it a variant?
I don't know. Because,
Alex had something else.
Wow.
I mean, I don't want to publicly discuss Alex's medical history on a
No,
podcast.
we should
Well,
absolutely.
he's been
should
coughing and spluttering, and I just assumed that that's where I've got it from. Because he said he was sick, then he took 2 days off, and then he came back.
You might have got it from Alex.
I was
yeah.
sick on Friday. I got sick Friday night. So I think it was
But I
Alex.
just mean Alex didn't have the cultaholic cold.
Yeah, I feel like the
so
Cultaholic
we're
cold
introducing
went
a
through
new
the
cult
office
to the
and left.
Yeah, I managed to avoid that one, but
Then Alex got sick, and you maybe have got Alex's sickness. Don't know.
Can you
the
just,
Alex variant.
Can you just go home, please?
The
No,
Alex
okay,
variant.
I'm fine.
Can you just go, can
It's
you just
fine.
go home?
I'm fine.
You've had a great week though, haven't you?
Yes, I had to call the fire brigade on Monday. It was exciting.
Why?
Well, the fire alarms in my
Were you
flat.
cooking?
No, I actually didn't cook
Doing a
anything.
main
on fire.
menu
I was
at
really
home.
not very well on Monday night, so I was just in bed. I had a headache, and then suddenly the fire alarm in my flat started going off, and I was like, "Who is doing this?" So I opened my door to see if anyone's going fire, to see if there's actually a fire. And then
Help.
two other a girl from upstairs and the girl next door were like, "What's going on? Maybe we should go outside." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I was in my socks. I didn't even put my shoes on. Went outside. And the fire alarm was going off for 15 minutes. And I was like, I don't know what to do in this situation because we can't turn it off. There's no obvious fire. So I looked up the Tyne and Wear fire department and they had obviously there's 999 for an emergency, but I thought, it's probably not an emergency, you know.
It might
I can't
just be
see
fire.
a fire.
I'll just call Sam on his mobile
So I
number
called-
rather than 999.
I called the number that was on the thing of the fire service, and the lady was like, "Hello." I was like, "Hi, our fire alarm's going off. We can't see a fire, but the fire alarm's going off." And she was like, "Okay, we'll send someone over. They'll be there shortly." Then me thinking that maybe there'll be a van. Maybe a van will come over.
Maybe
and
the fire van.
A fire van will come out.
That
and
you
he'll
see driving
just,
around and you think, what's that going to do?
Yeah,
It's
he'll
got a
just
bucket
comes
in the
to turn
back.
off our fire alarms. But then 2 full fire engines full of firefighters with their sirens and lights on pulled up. And
God.
I was like, I'm very embarrassed. I was like,
What
I'm
have I
so
done?
I
sorry.
called these people
Oh,
out.
God. But it was just a faulty fire alarm thing.
Oh.
Meanwhile, an orphanage burned to the ground.
Ashton.
I did say there's
Yeah.
not actually a fire. I didn't realize 2 full firefighter crews are going to roll up.
Unbelievable.
I had that once where out of my
bit awkward.
window from my old flat on the quayside, I could see a small fire just burning. It was just some
Oh, yeah, I
rubbish
remember you
that had been
saying
put in a corner.
Just out the back.
And it was up against a building. I don't know if someone was burning evidence or something. So I rang the fire brigade, but I was like, it's not like a big fire, but there's a fire and someone's got to put it out. I'm not going to go do it.
It's not my job.
And they were like, okay, we'll send someone out. And again, a giant fire engine with blue lights and a crew of 4 people turned up.
Yeah.
And then they walked up to it, all 4 of them looked at it, walked back to the fire engine, got a fire extinguisher and just went and then left.
Well, our guys brought in a big ladder, got it to the stairs, and then were walking around for ages, and the ladder was just on the
Just
stairs.
looking for a fire.
And then they took the ladder back out, and we were all like, "Our doors are unlocked if you want to check in any of our flats," because there was only 4 of the 8 flats were outside. So I don't know if people were just hiding because they'd accidentally set with their alarm off or something.
Oh, God.
But yeah,
maybe.
I had a very stressful Monday night. It was quite fun, actually, to be fair. It was quite exciting.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly was like, I am not well.
Shouldn't be out here.
I should not be outside.
It's cold at night right now.
It was very cold.
Do you remember when water was pouring through the ceiling of my flat and I had to call the non-emergency fire service because I thought this has got to be an electrical hazard of some kind. And they also
It was coming through the light, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was coming through the light fixture, and they also rocked up with all their gear on in a fire engine with the lights.
They came to do my fridge as well.
Did they?
Funky smell that.
Yeah.
And they took the 4 fire. They were all men in this occasion.
Thank you
firemen.
to our fire services.
They're the best. They're just literally. It was like a minute after I called. I didn't even call 999.
They were ready.
Just
when I was in that
day.
apartment, I called every one of the three big name emergency services at some point. I called the police once. I called an ambulance, the Avengers. The only people I didn't call were Mountain Rescue and the Coast Guard. So,
well, that's
worked my way through those.
Defrosted the Coast Guard, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've never called the fire brigade before. I was really excited.
This is our video game podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you're all doing well. It's November now and it's cold, and I know some of you are working towards Thanksgiving, but we're on the slow, painful march towards Christmas.
We've got nothing to be grateful for in this country.
Absolutely not. We got a bonfire night coming, I suppose.
Oh my God, fireworks night.
Yeah, keep your cats inside and your dogs.
And your dogs.
Should we go watch the fireworks?
I mean, you can go and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
We'll go on my own.
Why are you asking
I don't have any friends here.
You're
That's
too
why
sick,
I'm asking
Ashton. You need to stay in bed.
When is it?
Doctor's
When's
orders.
I don't know.
Friday.
Oh, well, then I'm not here.
This Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I'm not here either.
Well,
They'll be doing it all weekend.
The answer is no, then.
God damn it.
The answer is no. The fire service will probably have a lot to deal with it.
They will.
We have a very real video game adjacent sponsor each and every week on this podcast. Peter has the ad read in front of him right there.
Where is it, Peter?
Right there.
Boop.
We're sponsored by a country this time.
It's not Romania, is
Look
it?
at that smile.
It's not. It's a brand new nation. It's just joined the UN.
I will walk away if this is anything other than spectacular.
And everyone, it's not even a pun, really. It's just, you'll see, it's literally just. And everyone in that country, they just love like horses, and they love like donkeys.
Yep.
They love noble steeds.
Yep.
Coming soon to the United Nations, Riders Republic. That's it. It's not even. It's not. It's just the words Riders Republic.
I got out of bed for this.
Yeah, you did. Fortunately, it's not real.
Really?
Yeah, thank God.
That game we did a quip scope on, it doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
Well, not as a country anyway.
It's not real. No, of course, we're sponsored by wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/team TripleJump. You okay, Ashton?
That was a quick turnaround on that sponsor.
Where for us, I felt there was a lot of legwork that led to just
nothing.
Just the day.
So we just moved on very quickly.
Where for as little as $1 per month, you can submit questions to this podcast. We have loads of other tiers available as well. We love you very much. Please do consider supporting us there if you can do.
Yeah.
As well as patreon.com/team TripleJump, though, we also have another sponsor.
TripleJump.gg.
Okay, you're both going to have to say that at the same time, or just one of you?
It's TripleJump.gg.
Hello everyone! As well as our extremely real and totally not fictitious in any way sponsor, we're officially partnered with PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo to sell their codes through our own website, TripleJump.gg.
Here you can get everything from topping up your digital wallets to PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Game Pass and Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions, as well as Minecraft Mine Coins. Mine Coins, they'll be your coins any minute.
Nice one, Peter.
Thanks very much.
It's 100% legitimate, directly supports us, and provides you with the delightful digital currencies you're going to buy anyway. Visit TripleJump.gg to browse our full stock.
TripleJump.gg. This is a real sponsor. Now it's time for question 1. Thanks, TripleJump.gg.
Thanks.
Thank you, TripleJump.
This is from Blake Ferry, who says, "Good day, Bap."
Good day.
Good day.
Blake must be from Australia. That's the only place they say
Obviously
that.
from Australia.
Do you think we will ever see a return of the light gun and the games associated with it? The Time Crisis series and Point Blank were some of my favourite games as a child, and the only thing to have And the only thing to have tried it again since is the Wii and more recently PSVR. But VR is quite expensive and there are not as many games as one would hope for the price point. Keep doing what you're doing and don't ever change. Big love from Down Under. Proven.
Oh,
Blake.
You're
Blake.
right.
thank you, Mr. Ferry.
You did it.
Oh, God, my
Thanks,
paper
Blake.
nearly fell.
Some weird energy here today.
It is a bit strange. Yes. I really like playing light gun games, but I've never owned a light gun. I've only really ever played them mainly in the arcade, but perhaps at a friend's house. But even like my closest friends, none of them owned a light gun. It would be like, if we just went to someone's house for a birthday party who was like in my class and I sort of knew them.
Right.
That's
if you're having a party.
Exactly. But I would actually really welcome if like just a standard, non-VR, non-complicated, cheap-ass peripheral came out that was a light gun or something similar. Because we've got, the technology nowadays, it wouldn't have to be a light gun necessarily, which like registers. There's a reason why the screen flashes on a light gun game. It's not just there to be like your gun going off. It's like the whole technology is to do with that. I don't really remember how it works, but it's something about the flash of light. But whether it's a light gun in that sense or just slightly different tech, I would probably really enjoy an arcadey shooter game on rails with a light gun, just played standing in my living room at home. I'd love to see it come back without having to invest in PSVR.
Peter,
Yep.
how many times do you think you would play with your light gun before it goes in a drawer forever?
I don't think
If we're going to get you a light gun, Peter, we need to make sure you're going to play with
we
it.
have light guns at home.
Are you going to be responsible enough to own a light gun,
Yeah.
Peter?
I think it would go into a drawer periodically, but would come back out again when new light gun games came out.
And how often are you
I know,
thinking those are
everything
coming
is-
out?
Well,
Yeah.
we're talking hypothetically, aren't we? We're saying
suppose we
they,
The
they,
wizards.
them, the wizards
game
should
wizard.
bring out a peripheral gun
Yeah.
and produce games for it. And I would be a customer of theirs.
Okay.
Them,
Okay.
the wizards.
The light gun company.
The light gun wizards, yes.
Big light gun.
Ashton, big light gun. Ashton, would you support big light gun,
Yeah.
or do you prefer to kind of go to your local high street and encourage people to shop at their, small independent light gun businesses?
What are you saying?
I was listening and waiting I was trying to figure out where the sentence was going.
I thought you were going to say
and I
arcade.
just couldn't.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
me
was going
too.
to happen.
No, they're independent grocers of light guns.
Okay. I don't know if this is my cold and flu meds or this is just how this podcast
No, it's really
is already
happening.
going.
No.
I think that I had a thought and now I've lost it.
Oh, no.
I obviously in arcades, light guns are very popular, and I've played a couple in arcades, but that's basically my whole experience. Had to Google what I meant by a light gun because I didn't know, so I had to Google it. And I did read an article that said that light gun technology doesn't work on LED or OLED
Oh, really?
screens. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a light gun technology would work on modern day stuff. So it doesn't work on. That's why it doesn't work on the Switch, because they're all LED screens, and a lot of obviously TV screens are LED nowadays. I think, and yeah, I think that gun peripherals are still pretty useful. I mean, the Wii one was quite fun. That I had that, and I've seen a VR league where they've got gun peripherals with their like, I don't even know what they're called because they're not like on the PSVR. They had those big, those big ball things.
The
balls.
The ones. That's
Yes.
the word. Thank you.
So for other VR,
For other VR,
they're called hand dingles.
hand jingles. Yes.
They're not called hand dingles.
You've got the ones that you hold, and then the ones that are just like that you don't have to hold anything, it's just your hands. And they had ones that they were just the gun peripherals, and those are pretty cool, to be fair. And I remember watching a VR league of people like on the ground, fully with these gun peripherals, like. And I was like, oh, that looks fun. It's like paintballing with none of the pain. But I think logically, with things like light gun and those type of games, VR is, I think, unfortunately, one of the most logical next steps for that kind of game. I've played light gun-esque games, as in like those arcadey style games in VR. There's one where you're like trying to rob a bank, or or you're the police trying to stop someone robbing a bank. Either way, there's a shootout happening. And things like Super Hot, I guess, not exactly the same, but they are that sense of being sort of stood still, shooting, then moving, and being stood still.
Is it Virtua Cop? Is that what you played?
Maybe. I can't really remember. I think I only played it a couple of times. But there are like a bunch of kind of smaller VR games out there that have those kind of similar styles. But in terms of light gun, I think that it's kind of past its time a little bit. And I just don't think that unless we fully reinvented it, I think that you'd struggle to. And then even then, I think you're right. There wouldn't be that many games for it anyway.
Yeah, there wouldn't be in reality. Even if it was brought back, it wouldn't actually have that many games.
Unless it was really popular and then other big brands thought, well, you can play with a controller or you can play with your light gun if you'd like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I have to say. Ben?
I think light guns, especially for home consoles, are crap.
Really?
They've always been a bit crap. I think they work very well in the arcade. And even then, sometimes not. But I believe that if you want your light gun experience, you're going to have to go to the arcade. I completely agree with Ashton that VR is the next it's just the next. It's the logical evolution from light gun technology.
Yeah,
it's the. You know, the whole point of having a light gun in the first place was feeling more immersed with the game.
Yeah.
And what's more immersive than actually putting on a headset and being there and also having, you know, the peripheral to use as well. I agree. It's expensive and it prices a lot of people out of that whole experience. But equally, while light gun technology may well have come on a long way, it's very much been abandoned, and there's sort of a reason for that because gaming has moved on. Technology at home has moved on. I played various light gun-esque games that weren't VR with, what was it, the PlayStation Move on PS3, which required the camera and then the wand as well. House of the Dead Overkill was very good for that. But again, it's like it's got limited appeal because you do need to buy additional stuff for it. It's the same reason that Guitar Hero sort of fell out of fashion because they kept selling people instruments and people stopped wanting to buy instruments. And it may well be cyclical and it comes back into fashion at some point. But I think you'll be hard stretched to find light gun technology coming back into fashion, especially when VR is just going to be, while more expensive, it's more expensive for a reason. It's just going to be an infinitely more engaging experience, more accurate experience.
yeah.
There are cheap. I say cheaper. There are VR headsets that are not as expensive as, say, buying a PS5. But I suppose with a PS5, there's in front of you a lot more games, whereas VR, you kind of have to go searching for the games that you want to play. But I think that, I mean, it is expensive. Getting into most consoles and stuff is expensive. But I think that things like VR, hopefully, and I think more so now than maybe a couple of years ago, I mean, obviously that's just because that's how things work. And that more people are making games for VR. It is just a kind of a separate thing that is not as mainstream yet as, say, things like PlayStation and Switch games. A lot of these games are coming out on VR, but no one really talks about them because they are quite kind of not difficult to access, but you only really know about them if you've got a VR headset that you've
Right. If you're going looking for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that I think that when we're talking about light gun games returning, we're not, or I'm certainly not talking about the actual light gun technology where the screen flashes and it registers a hit in that way. I think, like, you know, it's a more broad idea of a gun in your hand peripheral. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. Like, probably the best place for that would be VR. And I mean, that sounds about right, actually, that maybe light gun technology doesn't even work anymore on modern TVs. But back then it was, you know, partly down to the limitations of the motion control we had at the time, which wasn't very good. Whereas nowadays, you wouldn't need to use light gun technology. You would just use something more akin to the Wii or, you know, PlayStation Move or something like that. So yeah, light gun technology itself specifically very much redundant and will never come back because it's not required anymore. We have other ways of doing it. But yeah, I think I would play peripheral shooter games without a headset happily. I think you're right that with VR it's even better and more immersive. But and sometimes it prices people out of the market a little bit.
Do you remember the aim controller from what was it? Farpoint,
Yes.
the
Sounds familiar to
PlayStation
me.
VR game, and it was like it's shaped like the center of a bicycle.
Yeah, it's
almost.
just a sort of
Oh,
a square.
yeah.
It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's
Or a trapezium.
long and then it's got a trigger and like a little stick, and it's got the ball.
I
on
remember
the front.
finding that in Astrobot and being like, what is
this?
this
I have one in my
contraption?
cupboard.
I can't remember.
That was incredible. The tracking on that in VR on the gun.
Yeah.
You could tilt it and it would move in, as my wrist clicks.
Yeah.
You can move my wrist and it just clunks and dislocates. It's so impressive. And it is, if you could show like a light gun game developer where we are now with VR, they'd be like, screw light guns.
Yeah, yeah,
Screw
exactly.
that. But you're right. If I could play a light gun game or a gun peripheral game at home without a VR, my VR has been sat in a box for 2 years.
What VR do you have? Is it the
PlayStation
VR,
yeah. I never unpacked it since we started TripleJump. It's just been in a box, and I've never felt compelled to do it. And I feel like that would be exactly the same if there were, God knows how many plastic light gun attachments. If we did just bring the technology of then to now, I wouldn't use it. I'd use it maybe once, and that would be sad, and a waste of money. Is it time to move on?
I think so. It's a segment we've never done before. Not once. Not ever.
Not once.
Really?
It's brand new. It's what we play in time.
It's what we play in time. Time to talk about what we play in. Peter, what have you been playing?
I went on my jolly hollybobs for a
Your
few days.
bolly
since-
jollies.
Yeah, since the last podcast. But I have had a little bit of time. I've played a tiny bit more God of War, but also I've had a couple of sittings with Riders Republic.
Ah,
In fact, we got sent a code very kindly by Ubisoft. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
thanks, Ubisoft.
But rather than just do another quip scope on what is probably pretty much identical to the beta, I thought we'd just talk about it here. I don't know how I feel about that game. I knew roughly what to expect going in, but I went in optimistically, not necessarily in the sense that I thought it was going to be really good and that kind of, but I went in with an open mind, I guess, is what I mean. Kind of entertaining the idea that this might well be really entertaining. Ultimately, I think it's not as intuitive and it's not as easy to play as I was hoping it would be. It's got a little bit more of a skill ceiling to do things like really well. And some people will welcome that, and that's exactly what they're going in for, particularly if they're already a fan of if they're a fan of Steep, essentially, or that genre or type of game. It's going to appeal to that kind of player. But I think if Ubisoft are going into this feeling like, hey, that's the kind of player we want to attract, and that's really who this game is for, then fine. They've probably done a pretty good job. This is just Steep, except it's not only snow. You can go to canyons and mountains and stuff, and that's all great. But if they were hoping to attract that kind of player and also welcome in a whole bunch of new people, to me, as someone who never touched Steep, I just felt a little bit like, I don't know, I felt like I was just crashing slightly too often and just coming off the path slightly too often. Not a lot, but just not.
I'm just picturing Peter Austin, Daredevil,
constantly
with all
rolling
his
over,
safety pads on and his
Ow.
stabilizers. on his
Yeah.
bike.
No, so the game opens with, it gives you a little taster of like 3 of the sports. So you go on your bike and you go on like a snowboard and stuff. And I did reasonably well, but there were a couple of times where I kind of like skidded off the path or whatever. And then when that is finished, this cutscene plays where your friend is like recommending you to the guru, saying, I found this awesome new talent. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was rubbish.
Yeah.
Like no one would look at that and go, he's promising.
Wow.
I had exactly
That
the
guy.
same thing at the beginning.
I just
of
thought like
the
that's
beta.
ridiculous. And then it sort of at first it kind of forces you, I'm not complaining, but it forces you to play about 5 specific events before you then have the open world to fully explore. And I did pretty well in those. I came first in all of those, and I thought, okay, that's good. But I still, I was only doing well because the AI was kind of letting me win, it felt like. And I was still like skidding around, and it just felt really stupid that people were saying, hey, you're doing a great job.
This guy's going to be
really
the
up
next
and
big
coming.
It's the best cyclist I've ever seen.
And then when I was finally allowed to go out into the world, the first 2 events I encountered were, I don't even know if you played any of these, Ben. They were like precision cycling.
Yeah,
ones.
was that like you have to do tricks or whatever?
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
it was like across these like narrow like boards that are up in the air. But like Go Ape.
Sure.
It was like that. You're going like just really slowly and around these bends, and then through like across almost a tightrope of wood, and you're having to like hop up these like 12-inch gaps, but you've got no speed, so it's really difficult to get up. And it just felt to me like Trials, but with all of the fun taken out of it. It was just the challenge without any fun. So I immediately wrote off that style of event. I was like, I'm never playing this again. I don't want to. That is not fun. It's not. And I will get better at it the more I play it, I'm sure. But it's not fun to persevere and get better at it. So why would I do that?
Yeah.
Other stuff can be quite fun, like actually doing bike races, some of the snowboarding and skiing tricks and stuff. That's a lot of fun to do. You get like a snowmobile just to go around the mountains to get between events. I found that pretty entertaining, but I don't know. I just feel like it didn't. I'm not saying it was deliberately gatekeeping, but it just didn't feel very welcoming to someone who has no idea what's going on and how to get into it. Right. Even with things like landing assist, where it like orientates you the right way when you land. It's got like certain things, like on a racing game, you can set your gears to auto rather than manual. It's the kind of the equivalent of that. It has like certain mechanics in there to help you. And even then, I just thought, this doesn't feel like a welcoming game to me, and I don't want to I'm not gonna get invested in it. I don't think. I also just didn't like the way everyone was talking. I didn't understand what any of the young people were saying. They were saying, "Oh,
the young people.
Dude, that's so laid out." What? Oh, put a bit of mustard on that, my dude. I was like, "What are you talking?" I don't know if it's because I'm getting a bit older, or if they're actually. If people in that environment, that scene in the real world would look at that and go, that's really cringy and that's not how we talk.
Written by 40-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what it is. There was a lot of talk about putting mustard on it, and I don't know what.
I don't like mustard.
I don't know. I don't know if it's put a bit of like heat.
Put a donk on it.
Yeah.
You want to put a donk on it?
I was starting this event, and he was saying like, oh, you can put some serious mustard on this one or something. And then I failed it. And then at the end, he said, hey man, don't worry. Sometimes you put too much mustard on a sandwich, don't you?
No.
And I was like,
what are you talking about?
What are you on about?
Mustard.
Stop. So
that's a shame.
Mechanically, this will work for some people, and it's exactly what they're going to want. Particularly, again, if you're a fan of Steep, it's for you. If you're not a fan of Steep, you've never played it before, I think, your mileage may vary with this. Some people will enjoy the challenge and they'll want to persevere and get better at it.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of hoping it would be a bit more like, just a bit more fun and easy to jump into. And it was a bit more realistic or challenging than I had hoped.
I've seen a lot of clips shared on Twitter of people sort of like chaining together cool.
Sorry, I have an eyelash in my eye and I can't get it out.
Oh no.
Chaining together cool
That's
tricks.
what I'd seen.
And doing backflips.
And I thought,
is
it that easy?
And I think that's part of their goal is, they want people sharing this stuff and like other people seeing how cool it is. But my concern for this game, as it has been since the day it was announced, is exactly the same as it was for Steep, is exactly the same as it was for The Crew and The Crew 2, which is great. You've created this sandbox and mechanics that allow people to do cool things in it. But is anyone going to stick around? Is anyone really going to stick around for the duration, or are people going to dip in, have a go, maybe save a couple of cool clips of things they've done and then bounce?
Yeah. I just punched the
exactly.
microphone.
You did you?
But did you get the eyelash?
No.
Oh.
No.
It's not coming out.
Nothing came
It's
of
okay.
it.
It's all going wrong for you.
I'm fine.
I agree. Like the day before I first played the game, I saw someone like doing doing a great job going down this gorge and like landing on like stacks of rock and
I
like
think I
bouncing
saw that
between
one.
them.
That might be the same one I saw.
And I didn't expect to be able to do that immediately, but they made it look more easy than it actually is. And I went into this game. Maybe my expectations just weren't right for this game, but I don't know. The fact that they have advertised this thing as such a whoa, here we go, dude! Like makes
Put some
you
mustard on it.
makes you feel like you're gonna be able to jump in and put all the mustard on it that you want to, and I wasn't able to do that, and that's what I found more frustrating than anything else.
You just have to go get a sandwich and some mustard.
I will maybe a bit of horseradish or
Do you
something.
even like mustard?
On a steak, maybe. Yeah,
I like mustard.
I don't like
I have the.
I wouldn't have it on anything else.
I have the McDonald's mustard in like a cheeseburger, but it's so I imagine that's so
Take that out.
sweet.
I was
And
like,
it's,
get that out. Mate.
get the hell out of here!
Get out of
no
town.
time. But I would never have mustard on anything else. I once had my dad's sandwiches accidentally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he made some sandwiches for himself, and I thought they were mine. And I put it in my lunchbox, right? I got to school, and I took a big bite of that ham sandwich. Real mistake.
Oh no.
So.
I think I've done the exact same thing with my dad's sandwich.
Like
I was in
real dad mustard, you know,
Yeah.
none of that soft stuff.
I was in a restaurant a few weeks ago, and I was ordering a steak, a little treat.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know.
You
Thought
make
I'd
it.
break the bank. And when they came and gave it to me, they were like, would you like any, does anyone want any sauces or anything? And they turned to me and said, do you want some mustard? And I thought, oh yeah, actually I do. I quite like mustard on my steak. And I said, oh yes, please. And they said, what kind? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Walked
French
into
is
a
mustard.
trap.
The stuff from inside the cheeseburger.
And
from
the
McDonald's.
only mustard I could even think of was, I was like, Dijon, please? And they're like, yeah, no problem. And they went and got that. French mustard is like the strong stuff. English, or is it the other way around?
I think English mustard is the really rough.
No idea.
Oh no, that's what happened. They brought me one of each in the end. I think maybe they might have even identified that I was a bit, yeah. Anyway, I said Dijon, and they're like, this is French, this is English. And I didn't know the difference. And I just put some English on, put quite a lot on. And I was like, oh, that's powerful. It was all right. I spread it thin. And I had to do a bit of work.
Sort of a Marmite situation.
Yeah, where you go,
You got to do a little bit the dabs around the dab around the steak. Peppercorn
break
sauce
it
is
down.
the only acceptable sauce.
Oh,
for
I
a
love
steak.
peppercorn
sauce is
So
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So that's what you think of Riders Republic.
Yeah, mustard.
Can you tell it's nearly lunchtime? I
Yeah.
bet you can't.
It's only 10. It's only 11:15. It's not even lunchtime
What?
yet.
It's only 11:45.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're
Sorry
half an
about it.
hour in. We haven't even got to weird news yet.
No.
So we've
We've not even got to
What's
question 2
question
yet.
two?
haven't got to
Yeah.
question 2 yet.
Ashton, what have you been playing?
I've been playing some more Far Cry 6,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really enjoying it. And I've been
Bug
playing,
report. What's going on?
what has been going on? Couldn't tell you.
Fallen through the world at any point? Have you...
No, I haven't. I haven't encountered nearly as many bugs as Ben Potter has.
Yeah, some people just
I
have
don't
buggy
really know.
builds of games.
I mean, there was
don't
one.
they?
There was one point where I was the male Danny on on Ben's screen,
It just
my Ben's
changed
screen,
you.
and I was
Oh.
female Danny on my screen. But yeah, I haven't really encountered many bugs. To be fair, you talk about it
It's
all the
non-
time,
it's non-stop
but I
for
literally
me.
haven't found that many. So I don't know if maybe it's just because I'm playing on the PS4 and just can't
maybe,
fathom
yeah.
loading a
Could
bug.
be.
But
Could be it.
yeah. And I've also been playing some Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
I'm enjoying it. I want to talk a bit about how in the big discussion actually I'll talk a bit more about it. But I'm enjoying the story and I'm really enjoying it. And I got really excited because I could put everyone in the same outfit. So at one point we were all running around as Nova Corps and I was like, yeah,
Nice.
we're Nova Corps.
Got a uniform.
I'm at like chapter 8 now. I'll be honest with you. All I did the last 2 days I was off sick. I watched Grey's Anatomy and I played Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all I did.
Sounds all right.
And I've upgraded. I've given everyone a couple more skills now. I think all of my team are at like minimum 2 skills, but I think a couple of people are at 3. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I keep forgetting to use Groot. Like he's just running around, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I have you.
Groot's so useful though. I always make him
Yeah,
lock down
well,
enemies.
I remember to do that every now and then, but normally I'm just like running frantically around and pressing all the buttons. That I just keep forgetting to use him. I don't like that you have to press L3 to get to Star-Lord because I keep mucking it up. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more now than I was last week, having played more of it and having unlocked more abilities and stuff. It's still not my favourite combat. and I still get very overwhelmed and confused. But I am enjoying it more now than I was
That's good.
last week.
Good.
So I'm glad I persevered with it. Because I'm enjoying the story. So I think I just was like, well, I don't really like the combat, but I quite like the story and I want to know what's going on. So I went to Nowhere. That was cool.
Yeah.
I went to the collector's
I liked
house.
that bit.
I
yeah.
liked that bit too.
That was
and I
cool.
really enjoyed the little tidbits of story. That
Little
were in there.
snivel
Little snivels. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I hate Rocket.
I mean, he's meant to be an arse.
Yeah, but it's just like so weird. And I think that in the movies, not to compare it, in the movies, like I feel like that Rocket has some redeeming qualities. This Rocket has no redeeming qualities. Like none.
That's funny because I get irritated by certain characters that are supposed to be, I'll hate them kind of more than you're meant to. Like Claptrap, I actively hate.
Yeah.
Like not in a kind of, isn't he annoying?
Claptrap.
But I didn't find Rocket that annoying. Admittedly, I only played enough to talk about it, and then I'm going to play it after God of War. But so maybe the more I play, the more I'll hate him.
Yeah.
But I thought it was okay.
Driving force for antagonism in the whole thing.
Yeah.
So far. Like
It's
he
just
really does just get he
in the
acts like a
way.
child a lot.
Right.
And
But
this is the thing, because I feel I'm like, why? I don't want him around. I don't want him to talk. Like, he annoys me when he's talking. Because I'm like, I don't care what you have to say. All you're doing is offering me annoying sentences and causing me to choose more dialogue choices. Stop talking all the time, you little rodent.
I like Rocket. I think he's important.
Well, if you like Rocket so much, why don't you marry him?
I don't like him that
illegal
much.
in
I just
49
don't. I just
states.
don't dislike him. I think he is what he's meant to be. I think.
Yeah, but I just wish he'd just cool down for a minute. Like, give me a break. Jeez.
But he always comes back.
Give me 2 minutes.
He gets really cross and then he comes back. So he does care. He
I
just
don't
won't
want him
tell
to
you
come
that he
back.
cares. Whoa!
At one point, he wasn't in the game for a bit, and I was like, oh my God, bliss.
Ashton.
Silence.
Sounds
This
like
is sacrilege.
Sounds like Rocket is like the Ashton of Guardians of the Galaxy.
How dare you?
Just gonna let the dust settle on
Very
that.
rude.
for a minute.
Very rude.
Incredible.
Wow.
He wasn't around for a while. And we're like, oh,
You shut
She,
your mouth.
she keeps making me
Shut your
have so
mouth.
many dialogue choices.
We've also been playing a couple party games at the weekend.
oh yeah.
We played some Dark Pictures Anthology. I don't know which one. The one with
Which
the
one was it
Yorkshire
about?
accents.
Little Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Little
Yorkshire
Hope.
Little
accents. Oh yeah, yeah.
Eme.
Hey,
Sort of like,
mate.
meh. Forgot about that.
And we played some Super Mario or Mario Party Superstars, but we talked about it on the Quickscope. Yeah, I had to play that twice because we couldn't record it when we first played it. So me and James spent Monday morning just playing a game of Super Mario or Mario Party, whatever. So that was fun. So yeah, that's what I played this
Good
week.
Monday.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No talk about mustard or steak for me. What have you been playing, Ben?
Well, I've been playing a bit of Far Cry 6, and they did a big patch that squashed a load of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
However,
Squash any of yours.
I had less weird stuff like falling through the ground.
Yeah.
But I still had, you hold L1 to open your weapon wheel,
Yeah.
and then you use the right stick to point where you know which weapon you want. Last night, whenever I pointed it in a direction, it would go and like select and unselect it like thousands of times instantly. So much so that I had to hope that when I let go of L1, it happens to be selected. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to pick a weapon. And that was for the duration of the entire time I played.
Wow.
Loading out, loading back in, didn't change anything.
It is weird how many bugs you get.
It's just non-stop. It's just, whoa.
Maybe it is
Maybe
platform.
Maybe it is the PS5
dependent
build,
to
it's
an
just
I
extent.
played the entire thing from start to now in co-op, so I imagine that probably has.
Is it your co-op save,
Yeah.
or is
Yes,
it?
I am hosting the co-op
Right,
session,
okay.
which is good.
That might also be
really
causing
handy.
more problems.
I do still enjoy very much how when you take off in a plane, you can pretty much just take off vertically.
Yeah.
So you literally have to go maybe 3 meters forwards before you can take off, and then you can just bank directly upwards.
Perfect.
Additionally, when you slow down to land, you go so slow that if you watch there's so many things that it was clearly not designed for your co-op partner, for anyone to see it
Yeah.
from any angle other than first person. So if you watch someone come in to land the plane, it basically lands like a helicopter when it comes when it's at the lowest speed possible. It just slowly, daintily comes out of the sky vertically, just like a plane. Yeah, that game's really stupid. It is fun though. It's just there's just so much in it. There's just so much in it. It's ridiculous, and the rate at which enemies spawn is
Oh my
so
God, yeah.
infuriating. You kill all of them in an area, and then another one will. It reminds me of how they did the wonky police in Cyberpunk, where police you could see them spawning behind you and chase you. That's what it's like in some of these areas.
They
Like,
just
enemies
roll up on a horse, and
Yeah, they
then
just
suddenly, like 2 minutes later, there's a tank, and then there's like
where did
another
the tank
group
come
of
from?
people.
The tank just appears.
Yeah, like they just rolls. Just suddenly, you're like at a stop or something, and you turn around, you turn back around, and there's a tank,
tank
and
there
you're
now.
like, excuse
It's
me.
just unnecessary. It really is. Also, a bit more Guardians of the Galaxy. Haven't finished it. Still really taking my time with it, reading all of the entries, make sure I don't miss
Yeah.
any dialogue, and shutting the fridge door all the time. And I think I'm on like chapter 11 now, so I'm closing. I'm in the end game, so to speak.
I wonder if it'll have a stats page at the end, which some games do, and it'll say how many times you've shut the fridge.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be good.
Did you notice in flashback?
is this going to be a spoiler?
No,
Okay.
in flashback in basement, fridge is open. Fridge is open.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
There's a
that.
fridge in the basement, and
Oh,
you
did
and you
I?
can close it
Oh no, maybe I did. I can't remember. It was a long time ago since I've
Yeah.
been in basement.
in basement.
That's all I've played, though. Let's move on to question 2.
Let's.
40 minutes in.
40
Question
minutes
2
in.
comes from Daniel Gregory. Daniel says, "Hello, Bap.
Hello.
What is the game franchise or a game developer that no matter how bad the game is they produce, they somehow manage to get you to come back and purchase their games or give them another try? For me, I always find FIFA and the WWE 2K games as the ones I go back to no matter what. It was also Call of Duty as well for a while. Interested to see if you have any franchises or games that will always draw you in. All the love, Daniel Gregory."
Thank you, Daniel
Thank you,
Gregory.
Daniel.
Gregory.
Thank you, Daniel Gregory.
I couldn't really think of anything that strongly answers this question for me. I will quite often just if I'm let down too often, I will be like, that's it now. I'm not going to give this the time of day because I feel like I've got so little time to play games nowadays as it is that I really need to choose ones that are supposed to be good and haven't let me down in the past, sort of thing. However, I will probably always try main installment Tekken games. Despite the fact that the last few haven't really excited me that much. Since Tekken 5, I've not been... I've played through like the main story of Tekken games and then kind of just put them down. I think they're just so geared now towards online play, and there's just less and less focus on, home, like couch competitive mode is the word I'm looking for. And things like the bowling and the volleyball and some of the silly things they used to do doesn't really happen anymore as much. And so in that sense, I'm a bit let down by those. But they're not bad games. So it kind of, I don't know if that really answers the question. The only other one I could think of is EA Star Wars games, which
Keep buying those.
I will keep buying those. That's mostly because they're Star Wars. It's nothing to do with EA. Outside of Star Wars, I don't generally play games published by EA nowadays. But and I've defended Battlefront 2 in the past. But there are other EA Star Wars games that I didn't like. I didn't enjoy the flying one, Squadrons, very much. Literally just played through the story of that and then put it down and will never touch it again. Never tried any. Well, I've tried one session of multiplayer and didn't like it. And then also, we've said things in the past about Jedi Fallen Order, which, had a lot. It kind of there was a lot to be desired, really, in that. And there's probably going to be another one.
Yeah.
It might be announced soonish, and I'll probably play it because it's Star Wars, and I probably won't like it that
He's a
much.
slave to the SW.
I am, but fortunately, EA don't have the exclusive license anymore.
No,
so
they do not.
That's all great news. But there's a mine really. But yeah, as I say, I generally would just kind of stop playing stuff if it let me down too often. Ashton?
Mine's not really game series. I have a real thing about Sims expansion packs and game packs and stuff packs. I feel let down by them all the time. They're buggy most of the time. They don't do exactly what they promise, but still I'll like one table in a pack.
Yay.
And I'll buy it because I have to have that table to build with. I haven't played it in a while, so I haven't got Cottage Living, which is the new one, or the new stuff packs, or the new stuff pack that's coming out this month that's all plants, and I will be buying that because I love putting plants in my builds.
It feels like a lot of this stuff would be available in mods.
Well, this is the thing. I have a lot of custom content on my Sims, and a lot of the time, this custom content will cover things. I've got loads of custom content plants and stuff that I have already. However, if the game has an update, it breaks all the mods. You have to reinstall them. So if you open the game without like allowing mods, it just kind of like removes them all from the game. So suddenly all your characters are bald and naked, and your houses are missing key features. No. But there is loads of custom content that I do have. But there is expansion packs, and I'm like, oh, that world's really pretty. Oh, this one actually milk a cow.
Cottage Living looks nice.
Cottage Living looks really nice. Like I said, I haven't played in a while, but I do have a thing for expansion packs. I'll never pay full price. How dare you?
How dare you?
I'll normally look online. Like I
Shut
won't buy
your
them
butt
directly
down.
from EA. I'll go online and find like a cheaper version of it, because normally they charge like, I don't know, for the older packs maybe like 15 to 20 quid for the expansion packs and game packs and stuff. Not like, I mean, stuff. So here's the breakdown.
Yeah, go on.
You got stuff packs.
You got stuff packs.
You got kits.
Kits.
You got game packs. And you
Game
got
packs.
expansion packs.
Expansion packs.
They're all different. They all have different levels of how much they add to the game. Kits are just normally, so the new plant stuff is a kit, not a stuff pack.
Okay.
But a stuff pack will be things like toddler living, and so it'd be like
Toddler
stuff.
living.
And they're normally like £10. Kits are like £5. And then expansion and game packs are normally around from like 15 to £20.
They're the big boys.
They're the big
Or
boys.
girls.
And normally I won't pay that. I'll find them online for like a couple of quid cheaper. But I do just keep buying them. It's really bad because I'm like, wow, what's going to be broken with this one?
You're feeding the machine.
Probably a lot. I am. I'm part of the problem, but I
So
just
am I.
really like the tables and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Just a really
expansion
nice
packs
table.
for The Sims is one of my biggest vices.
Ben.
Ben.
I've written down, I also get all the WWE games. I didn't play 2K18 though, because 2K17 was, and 2K18 doesn't sound like set the world on fire either. Came back just in time to play 2K19 and 2K20 though, the best ones, the really excellent
Are they
ones.
good? Or are you being sarcastic?
2K20 was famously broken.
Infamously horrible.
It stopped working.
I knew
when
there was one that
when
was
it
broken.
struck midnight to the year 2020.
Did it really?
Yeah, there was a bug in it
Why?
that stopped it from being able to.
I don't
be
know if
launched.
I knew that one.
I think we covered it on the podcast
May
at the
have
time.
done.
So the sports, like a lot of sports games, they launched the tail end of the year before
yeah.
the one they're meant to represent. So it launched in WWE 2K19, the year of our Lord 2K19,
Yep.
and then as soon as it hit 2020.
The year that it was about.
People couldn't open it anymore, and they had to release a patch to make it work. But like, there was all sorts of things. Like, there was a huge graphical downgrade from a lot of like the scans of
Yeah.
the wrestlers. So The Rock looked like a rubbish version of The Rock,
Like a
as
Santana.
opposed to the year before where he looked like The Rock.
Right.
And then there was like horrifying glitches where bodies were like mangled and like
people getting
people's
stuck in the ropes.
faces
and
were like
stuff.
phasing through their outfits, and their
Oh.
eyeballs were out on stalks and stuff. Like there was
I see.
a lot going.
There was
very,
so
very
much
Sounds
wrong with it,
fun,
and there was a new thing like every week for about a month or
Yeah.
two, and that's probably why I don't specifically remember that story because you know
It
which
just-
week
the
was
story
that?
Didn't stop giving.
It's like
And
Fallout 76.
We haven't had a WWE game since, and even 2K. They didn't do 2K21, and 2K22 has been delayed out of this year, so it'll be releasing next year, which is
2022.
uncommon. Anyway, so I always buy the WWE. I've definitely got to get the next one because I can't imagine how good that's going to be. Telltale games. I ended up actually just playing, I think, all of them, including the terrible
you?
Minecraft one.
Wow.
Because I just kind of enjoy them. Like, I enjoy the structure of them. You know exactly what you're getting. They're usually an easy platinum as well. It's just quite a nice game to just play from start to finish over the course of a weekend. I still haven't played the final season of The Walking Dead, though. which I will get around to at some point. Dark Pictures Anthology is a series that apparently I will never not play. Played all of them since they came out, and looking forward to starting the new one, which we're doing on stream.
Being a bit...
Yeah, they're rubbish, and yet so fun. And the last one I've got down here is Call of Duty. I played pretty much every Call of Duty game. I didn't play Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare, but those weren't particularly well received. But largely, I've played most of them, and while not getting caught up in the hype of the new COD game each year, I inevitably end up getting it like at Christmas when it's reduced.
Seems to be this year caught up in the hype of
No.
Vanguard. No one seems to care, really.
About Vanguard. We may be covering it on the channel in Quipscope form if if some of you are interested. Boo Activision, obviously. But we may well be covering it just to let you know whether or not you should even buy it if you are interested. But yeah, it's just a series that the years stop coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah.
They sneak around. It's like, there's a new Call of Duty. Well,
okay.
Relatives want to know what I want for Christmas, and I buy all the games that I want. So maybe that, maybe that.
Yeah.
But there we are. There's some answers for you. Let's move on to something a bit strange. We're running very long. It's called Weird News.
Weird News.
It's weird news time. Time for some weird video game news. Ashton's situation is deteriorating.
His lights are really giving me a headache.
If you're watching on
That little
camera,
break there just got worse and worse.
had a small argument just in that little cut where we
I'm
were
not
telling her she
going
needs to
home.
go home, and Ashton said, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
But she was talking to us with her eyes closed because she couldn't look at the lights anymore. So it's all going really well. Peter, what's your weird video game news?
My weird video game news is that there are producers for our podcast.
Yeah, we're doing the producers.
Oh, sorry.
I was prepared and then
I
you
keep
didn't
skipping past them.
Yeah.
My
do it.
apologies.
So rude.
So this week, Weird News and the podcast as a whole is sponsored by Matt Barger,
Sean Legg,
Trick 24,
Evan Breidenbach,
GY Goliath,
Ellie Nicholas,
Hutker 10,
Melody L. Bonnet,
Benet,
or Burnett, I'm not
Dylan.
sure.
Gabrielle Philippink,
Adam Dawson.
and Katie Garrod/Jared. Thank you very much. Those are our
Thanks,
podcast producers. If you
gang.
would like to find out how you can become a podcast producer, go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump. We love you. We love you all. Thank you so much.
We do.
Peter,
Thanks.
what's your weird video game news?
Minecraft cheaters try to steal accounts, download ransomware instead.
Got him.
This is according to PC Gamer,
PC Gamer.
written by Tyler Kolp, C-O-L-P. Kolp, good surname. Japanese Minecraft players looking for stolen accounts are getting duped by malware. Minecraft cheaters in Japan are being hit with some instant karma, which incidentally is the category that this article is filed under.
Oh,
Good.
excellent.
I'm glad
The
there's a full
instant karma
category
section.
for it.
According to cybersecurity outfit Fortinet, wannabe hack, which is an anagram of Fortnite, but it's not, nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Wannabe hackers are being targeted by data-destroying ransomware that masquerades as a list of stolen Minecraft accounts. Such a list is theoretically attractive to players who want to anonymize themselves to keep their main accounts from catching bans, most obviously to get away with cheating, griefing, and other bad behavior. While it's unclear how many Japanese Minecraft players have fallen for the ransomware trap, Fortinet has detailed what the attack does. According to Fortinet, the ransomware temporarily corrupts files smaller than 2 megabytes until the victim has paid 2,000 yen, about $17, not a big ransom, to rescue them. But it doesn't give the victims a chance to save anything. When they open the executable file that they've downloaded off the internet and just run on their computer, brilliant.
Good.
Any files that are larger than 2 megabytes and have a variety of extension types, a list can be found on Fortinet's site, are filled with random bytes that permanently destroy them. It deletes any Windows backup copies of the file, so you can't simply restore them either. It also plasters a ransom note on the user's wallpaper. The only thing it doesn't do is take any of your data. How considerate, it says.
That's nice.
The attacker demands prepaid cards for online shopping, gaming, music, mobile phones, and streaming services as payment. The best bit is that, according to Fortinet, the ransom note says that the attacker is available only on Saturdays and apologizes for any inconvenience caused. Which is my favourite part of the story. Even if the victim pays the fee, only the files smaller than 2 megabytes can be restored, apparently, which nowadays is not a great deal. Really. Everything's bigger than 2 megabytes.
Yeah.
Except you.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
That's true. The article continues, but that's kind of it. It just says, as always, whether you're trying to cheat at Minecraft or otherwise, downloading and running executable files from sketchy sources is a bad idea.
Yes.
And then in parentheses it says, but don't try and cheat at Minecraft either.
don't. Minecraft's so competitive.
Thanks, Tyler Kolb.
Thank you, Tyler Kolb. Do they know that creative mode exists in Minecraft?
Yeah, I don't really understand it.
I assume
but people
it's
play
like
on these
to go
servers
on
and
like
stuff.
servers and stuff and
Minecoins.
be a mischievous
Yeah.
little
Minecoins.
mischief.
Minecoins.
Minecoins, yeah.
Whose coins?
Minecoins.
Mine.
TripleJump.gg.
Minecoins.
Go on there and run the .exe file that you can download. It's called virus.exe.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it gives you infinite mine coins.
Minecoins.
Infinite Minecoins.
Ashton, what you got?
My news comes from, bear with, from Jonathan Wong on Facebook, and it's on Kotaku by Mike Fahey.
Fahey!
Someone send that to him.
And it was
I bet that's never happened to him before.
and it was released this week. So it's not what
Oh,
we've done
yeah,
before.
not like last time.
Not like last time. They said, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's also kind of an ad for the product, but whatever. Now they're making video chewable game controllers for tiny babies.
Yes.
For tiny babies.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Baby Glitch helps gamer parents indoctrinate their kids with chewy little N64, Xbox, and PlayStation controllers.
Perfect.
Does the stuff your infants chew on not look like a video game controller? Are you a gamer parent concerned that your child may want to go outside instead of sitting in front of a television all day? Baby Glitch is your back with a new line of baby gamer gear, featuring small-scale replicas of Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox controllers with movable joysticks and poppable buttons, all made out of a delicious BPA-free silicone.
Yes, finally.
I am constantly telling my 10-year-old son Seamus to stop chewing on the Xbox One controller, but getting to this point took years of training and discipline. He used to chew on just about anything. Dice, coins he found on the ground, choking hazards, warning stickers. Now it's mainly Microsoft analog sticks. I can only imagine how much easier the journey would have been. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Your 10-year-old son is chewing on your Xbox
I've got to
controller.
assume this is a
that
joke.
A joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how they said
But it doesn't
coins,
sound-
dice, choking hazards, as
No,
though the
I've-
former aren't choking hazards.
I've read that article before. I think Ashton may have misread it.
I'm sorry.
I think it's choking
Words are
hazard
moved.
warning stickers,
Oh,
but
right.
she listed it as choking hazard warning
Sorry.
sticker.
I thought there was a comma there. There's not a comma.
It's not a comma. Are you okay, Ashton?
Yeah, I'm fine.
She's not okay.
I can only imagine how much easier this journey would have been if he'd had a silicon game controller to chew on as an infant instead of rubber giraffes, blankets, and his twin brother.
We never heard what the other brother chews.
No.
The other 10-year-old, he's not
This
chewing.
is what they look
Maybe he
like.
didn't survive
They do look
infancy.
seen.
delicious, to be fair.
I think this is a terrible idea because surely it's just going to teach your kids, hey, you know that Chewy thing that's like shaped like an N64 controller and has buttons and colours?
Yeah.
Here it is, chew it. I'm instructing you, chew this.
Chew this, but not the real one.
But not the real one that looks almost identical.
But chew this.
Chew this one.
The founder of it, Seth Bruce, says, as a father with a new son, shopping for any relatable toy was nearly impossible. It was either a giraffe or a rainbow. Baby Glitch co-founder Seth Bruce said in a press release, as a gamer parent that grew up playing the classics and the currents, I wanted to give gamer parents and future gamer kids something that they could truly appreciate. I appreciate, and then the article goes on to say,
Yeah.
I appreciate the sentiment even if I don't appreciate throwing shade at giraffes and rainbows.
Yeah.
It's true.
Part of me does worry that Baby Glitch controllers will teach children to chew on games controllers as my son does, although part of me can't stop watching the adorable promo video.
That second reference to the son implies maybe it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Maybe their 10-year-old son does actually chew on
Yeah,
Games
controllers.
controllers. And this is a third part of me, I am a man of many parts, is considering buying one for myself to use as a fidget toy. Maybe hang it around my neck with a cord or something so I can quickly let
Chew
it
on
drop
it.
from below my teeth and pretend I'm all grown up. And
Maybe
the-
that's why your 10-year-old is chewing things
because your dad's
You're
a bit of a
chewing.
weirdo.
Their Kickstarter has passed their goal, by the way.
Oh, has it? It was only £8,000,
Congratulations to
so
Yeah. They've done it, so
great.
you'll be able to buy one.
All
soon
those
if you
gamer
want.
parents.
All
They're
those
going to
gamer
be so
parents.
excited.
It's my chewing sound effect.
My weird news is from Kotaku and Zach Zweisen. 24 years after release, GoldenEye N64 is no longer banned in Germany.
Hooray!
Yay!
Finally!
Well done, Germany.
GoldenEye
You did
007 for the N64 was released in 1997 in most of the world. However, in Germany, it was banned and designated as media harmful to young persons. But now someone has stepped in to help unban the classic shooter.
Was it Angela Merkel?
It
Did
doesn't
she,
say.
did
you
she
know.
say, hold on a minute?
I don't think Angela Merkel has a vested interest in
Well, you never know.
She
James
might.
Bond Nintendo 64.
She might.
She might, though.
She
She
might
might
do.
be a big Bond head.
As
She might have her hands in the pockets
Big
of
Bonder.
Big Bond.
Big Bond.
As spotted by VGC, Rare's beloved N64 game GoldenEye 007 is no longer banned from being sold, advertised, or marketed to minors in Germany. This follows 24 years of it being on the banned media list in the European country, it says, which is a weird description for Germany. What's interesting about this recent unbanning of GoldenEye in Germany is that it was going to happen automatically next year, as media on that index is removed after 25 years, according to Eurogamer Germany. They would know, the European country.
Yes.
They would know.
However, someone or some entity stepped in early to get the game unbanned. We don't know who or what company decided it was time to free GoldenEye from this old banned media list,
move.
but there is a lot of speculation online that it might be a sign the game will soon be released on the Nintendo Switch, possibly via the N64 NSO expansion plan.
Did you see that video is now like the most disliked video
Yeah.
on their
On
channel?
their whole channel.
It's got like
dear.
100,000 dislikes.
It's not good.
Hawks.
The reason for getting the game off the banned index in Germany most likely comes down to Nintendo and its partners wanting to sell the game digitally on the Switch. But because Nintendo's European headquarters are located in Germany, it means that its digital store in that part of the world has to follow German laws. So any game banned in Germany, and for a long time a lot of games were banned over there, can't be sold digitally on the European eShop. Shop.
Yeah, I can't remember.
God, thank
The
God
article
for
continues,
Brexit, I
but
guess.
there we go.
In my the weird news
Sorry.
the weird news last week
Sorry.
that I either brought along or one that I was going to bring along was something to do with how like a game is banned in Australia because it's banned in Germany or something.
That is weird.
Yeah. Or,
Censorship laws are strong.
yeah, like Australia weren't specifically saying this is banned, but because it was only available, whatever this game was, via the online shop, and Australia is served by the European digital store. Apparently, it's something about that.
Australia are basically in Europe.
They are, aren't they?
They
They're
go
in
to
Eurovision.
Eurovision.
Yeah,
Oh, I love when they go to Eurovision. I love them.
yeah, it's a weird thing.
I
that,
love
like,
Eurovision.
Germany is not the place to put your digital store because they are quite ban heavy with things. Well, they certainly have been historically. There've been some major game
Big bannage.
bans and censorships in Germany.
Well, Germany have had a long history with censorship, haven't they?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Certainly have.
Not anymore, though.
Not anymore,
GoldenEye's
though.
back, baby.
Yeah,
Question
go, get a
3.
bubble.
This is from Jules, who says, Sup, Bap. Having
Sup.
Hiya.
recently completed all 208 levels on Peggle Blast. Peggle Blast!
Peggle
Peggle
Blast
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yes, Peggle comes to the podcast once again, it says in parentheses. I feel experienced enough to give new players to the game plenty of tips and advice, and probably write a small strategy guide on it.
Oh.
If you were tasked with writing a strategy guide, which game would you write it about, and what would your top tip be?
Top tip.
Top tip. I could think of maybe 2 games that I am perhaps good enough at to be able to write a guide on. You right there, Ashton?
Yeah, my hands are cold.
Okay. Just cooling your head down with your cold hands.
Yeah.
But she's fine, though,
I'm
remember?
fine.
fine.
I
She's
just need a
absolutely fine.
paracetamol.
Either Spyro the Dragon, the first one, or possibly The Unholy War,
Ooh.
Oh, good.
which does have, I mean, both of those games have guides. I own them, but I could write a better one.
It's confused me that I own that. Then I was like,
My top tip, like if it's a broad kind of across the whole game tip for The Unholy War would be make sure you're using those teleporters. For those who don't know, The Unholy War it's kind of like, it's a bit like Smash Bros. It's like a brawler game, except it's got an extra dimension. It's a big square map rather than a side-scrolly type. And it has far fewer attacks and things. When I say it's like Smash Bros, it's almost nothing like Smash Bros. It's just a
It's
one-on-one.
an arena fighter.
It's an arena fighter, one-on-one arena fighter. And there are teleporters around all of the arenas that allow you to zip very quickly across. And depending on who you're playing as, they can be really handy. Because especially the AI will generally follow you if you go through one. So you can just kind of wait for them to jump through. And
Idiots.
then very quickly attack them. Or you can place like hazards on the receiver node of the teleporter so they go through and get damaged, stuff like that. For Spyro, the biggest tip you can give on Spyro 1 really is how to get the 2 very, very difficult crystal dragons, how to free the 2 hardest dragons in the game, where you have to do like really convoluted, complex supercharge runs.
I hate those supercharge runs.
Yeah, they're pretty difficult. So that's definitely the biggest tip that anyone takes from any guide to Spyro 1. But if it had to be a more general top tip for the whole game, I would either say use that Sparks gem finding ability.
Use it.
If you're playing on the Reignited trilogy. It's not available on the original PS1 build, but it's available on Reignited. If you're playing on PS1, then maybe just make sure you're charging before you jump if you want to get a little bit more distance. Yeah. Don't just walk and jump and glide.
What's wrong with you?
Charge and jump and glide.
Are you some kind of imbecile?
Dingus.
What are you doing? Why are you walking everywhere? You're a dragon.
Do you know how busy this guy is?
Jesus.
Stop wasting his time.
I shouldn't have to write that into the guide, you moron.
Stationary leaps.
There you go. Those are my top tips.
Don't mind if I blow my nose quickly.
No, go for it.
I'm just going to do it over here.
Ah.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
That was Ashton's top tip there on how to breathe easy when you've got a cold.
So I'm not very good at most games. And also, I very rarely play a game more than once. Because once I've played it, I'm like, well, I enjoyed that, and I won't come back to it for a while until I've kind of forgotten about it and something will intrigue me again. So I didn't really know what to say about this, but then Peter was like, what about The Sims? And I was like, I do know quite a lot about The Sims.
You know about the stuff.
But
you know
it's
about the
kind
kits.
of like one of those things where there's no real goal in The Sims. It just depends on what you want to do. Like if you like to build, there's certain cheat codes that can really help you build that most people don't know about. So I'd probably like tell people to do testing cheats enabled, bb.move objects on. That'll change your life.
Change your life.
Don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing.
You did laugh.
I did.
At
me.
Ashton.
But yeah, I think that's what I'd probably do. And again, I don't play much Sims. I build a lot in The Sims. So I would write a build guide. But even then, I'm actually not very good at that. Most of my builds look the same. I just cover them in plants and they look all right.
That's what I do with my flats.
Make it like a garden.
Cover it in plants.
It works.
But yeah, I think that's probably the game I'm got the most experience in, most hours in. If you'd asked me this time last year, it probably would have been Animal Crossing. But I abandoned Animal Crossing about a year ago and I haven't gone back to it since. So
I remember a move objects on exploit that I think goes back to Sims 1, where you would build your house and you could like make a little driveway.
Yeah.
And then you would wait until the car came to pick your sim up from work. And if you had move objects on, you could grab the car and move it off the road and you could just have it on the driveway. They won't be able to drive it or anything, but it just looked like they owned a car.
That's same with like debug. You can get cars off debug and put them in your driveway if you wanted to. You
when
can't use
social
them,
services came to take away your baby, you keep moving. You just move the crib to the
keep
back
moving
of the
the baby
garden,
away.
and then they have to go to the back of the garden again, and then you move it back in the house, and then you just keep going.
Yeah. So that's what I'd probably do. Ben, why is yours Dark Souls?
Sorry, what did you call me?
Ben?
I heard.
I have a blocked nose.
I know.
Ben is one of the hardest
Ben.
words to say when you've got a blocked nose.
It's got the sound does not sound
It's
like
actually
I can't do.
Demon Souls.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you.
That's fair enough.
I would write a strategy guide about Demon Souls because I have played it a lot and I know pretty much where everything is or how to do it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense in my brain. The piece of advice I would give
Oh no.
I would give someone who was just starting out would be I'd cut through the BS and just say, look, if you want to play on easy mode, be a magician.
Be a magician.
Use magic. It makes the game so much easier and it almost breaks it really in terms of difficulty. So if you want easy mode in Demon's Souls, just play as a magician. It's not to say that playing as a magician is a sign of weakness or anything. It's just it genuinely makes the game a lot easier. So if people were thinking of getting into Demon Souls and they're like, oh, this is daunting, I've got to buy the strategy guide so I know what the flip I'm doing. Page 1, play as a magician. There are no difficulty settings in this game. However, if you want the easiest experience, play as a magician.
There you go.
Thanks, Ben.
Easy peasy.
It's time for something big. It's time for something that is a discussion.
And chunky.
And chunky. It's time for the big chunky discussion.
It's big discussion time. Time for the big discussion. This week's big discussion comes courtesy of Freddie Weber.
Thanks, Freddie.
Dearest Bab, I trust this email finds you all well and dandy. It has been almost, not Ashton actually. It is, oh no, she's fine.
I'm fine.
It has been almost a year since the PS5 has been available, or not in most people's cases, if you want to get technical about this. And yet, I still have no interest in getting one or even playing on a friend's. Several of my friends have one. My brother too, who went through hell and high water to get one on its release.
Hell and high water.
Hell and high, don't you flipping say it. And when I ask all of them about their feelings towards
you
it,
going to say you went to school?
No, I'm not going to say it.
That's a good one.
You told me
though.
not to.
That's a good one.
Hell and high
You
water.
should have let him say it.
no, absolutely not. And when I ask all of them about their feelings towards it, the response I get is, meh, it's all right. Am I completely out of the gaming loop? I am a certified casual gamer. That the biggest gaming company can release the long-anticipated next-gen console that is very hard to get a hold of upon release, not cheap, and still doesn't have any OMG you have to play this game games, and we're all okay with this? Unless you not, which in itself is okay, unless it's not. I do hope this question makes sense. Kiss, kiss, Freddie, certified casual gamer and new Patreon member.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thanks, Freddie.
We sort of talked about this like earlier in the year about how, you know, is it worth getting one right now? So we've sort of walked this ground before a little bit, but
it can seem a bit like, what's the point when a new console comes out? Because the launch lineups, the problem is you're going from a console, theoretically, you're going from the previous generation that has had its full lifetime. And when you look back across the years of that lifetime, there are all these amazing games and hits. And you're thinking, wow, wasn't the PS4 great? Or wasn't the Xbox One great? All these games. Then you're like, and now the next one's coming out and that's going to be even better. And then in that first year, there might not be a whole lot of amazing games because that's sort of what happens with launch titles. Yet, admittedly, I can see why some people would think that on this occasion, it is sort of still lacking that big, you must play this game. You know, if you think about the likes of, for example, Halo 1 on Xbox, that was very much a buy an Xbox because this game exists, you know? And there have been other games like that in the past. You know, you could maybe say that about Time Splitters 2 or something. Was that a launch? No.
Time Splitters 1.
1, oh yeah, which was not actually so good. Not as good as Time Splitters 2.
One of the best reviewed PS2 launch games. Madden NFL 01 or whatever,
Oh, really?
2000.
There you
Yeah,
go.
90-something percent.
Right,
Wow.
okay.
Bonkers.
But yeah, you know, there have been early releases in the past, or you know, maybe within the first year of certain consoles, where it would make you feel like, well, it's almost worth getting the console just for that. And it's difficult to say whether there's been one of those for the PS5. I think, you know, if you're a fan of your Souls games, you might say that Demon Souls is that. Other people maybe looking for something new might even look at like Kana or something. I mean, not for me. It's not a game changer, but I think some of it's coming down to personal taste. And you might look at the lineup, whether it's the launch lineup or the what we've seen in the first sort of 12 months, and there might not be something for you necessarily, Freddie. But I think some people probably have found a game this year that has really blown their mind. The example I can think of is that Emilition, our friend of the channel, seems to be absolutely in love with Returnal, and that's great, you know. And I suspect she would say that that's probably one of her favorite games, certainly at the moment, if not of the past however many years. So there are people out there who have found a huge game-changing game, if you'll pardon the pun, but not everyone. So it's difficult, really, to say to give an answer that works for everyone, because it's very much case by case.
Yeah,
I think.
So having had a PS5 and now gone back to a PS4 Pro, there is a significant difference in how a lot of games run/look, which is kind of what we knew already. I was talking about playing Guardians earlier, and that game struggles in a lot of combat situations. It stutters quite a lot because there's so much going on screen, which I imagine doesn't happen very much on the PlayStation 5. Have you noticed
the
any
stuttering? No, I've had no
stuttering. Yeah, I've had quite a lot of stuttering during combat situations, and there are points where I think, oh man, I know that this would run much better on the PS5. It would look much better on the PS5. I'd have things from having the PS5 and playing on it. I'd have things that I have played before on that game, on that console that I'm now playing on my PS4, where I'm like, oh, this looked so much better on the PS5 and it played better. Do I want another one? Yes. Do I need another one? Not really.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I don't need one. Like Fraser in our office seems to have like a black market PS5
I don't know how he
dealership
does
going
it.
on. He seems to always know where they're
Providing
coming out.
them.
And he sent me a link the other day, and there was one that was available for £525 that included a second controller. And I didn't need a second controller, and I'm not going to buy an extra controller just to have a PS5 because I'm just me playing on it. I don't live with anyone else. And so I was like, well, I don't need it right now, so I can wait until it's just, the bog standard PS5 with a controller. Same way if there's like a bundle. If there's a game that I'm not interested in, I'm not going to buy a bundle. A bundle, sorry. Yeah, I think that like it's fair enough to feel kind of like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Apathetic. Yeah, that is actually the word I was looking for. About the PS5 in general, because like you say, there's not necessarily a huge amount of games that are PS5 exclusives that have made, that make people want to play them. However, going forward, we know that the next couple of years, there's going to be more and more PS5 exclusives. There's going to be games that categorically do not run very well on the PS4 and are technically not PS5 exclusive, but will probably struggle on a PS4, whether you've got the Pro or not. I mean, the regular PS4, I think, is going to start struggling, if not has already started struggling with a lot of new games anyway. And the Pro is, I've noticed, starting to struggle with a lot of AAA games that are coming out recently, like Far Cry struggles with some of the graphical things. Guardians it struggles with. Kena it struggled with. So there's quite a lot of stuff that I think makes me want to go up to a PS5 eventually. But like you say, it's not like an urgent, I have to get one right now. It's only, I think, I want to get one before like Horizon and God of War come out next year, because I want to play those in as high quality as I can. My partner would say, I categorically cannot go back down to playing anything under 60 FPS because he is a real FPS snob. Yeah, a nut snob. So he won't go back down to anything other than the PS5 because he knows that he can visually notice it. I can't really notice it very much, so it doesn't really bother me. But I can notice when things look better than on other consoles. So yeah, having gone back down, I would like a PS5. But it's not a necessity in my life right now. So there you are.
That's fair. It has impossibly high standards to hit for a lot of reasons. I think the stock scarcity is really exacerbating things because people just hype it up in their mind, like what this is going to be the next game-changing
gold dust,
thing.
therefore it must be the best thing. Yeah.
Exactly, and people want it because other people want it, and people want it because other people have it, and other people don't have it, and it's actually ended up working out in Sony's favor to an extent, this because the amount of outlets and social media presences that exist purely to alert people to stock drops make it feel like a big event when new ones are being released. And it's outstripping the PS4 sales at this time in its lifetime so far, even though there's been real stock issues. So everyone who is, a lot of people are probably building this thing up in its mind to be in their mind, sorry, to be this like crazy, incredible thing. But ultimately, we're in a weird space in the industry right now where we do have the vast majority of games that are coming to next gen, all of them on Xbox Series X, are also coming to the last gen as well, the Xbox One. And the vast majority are doing that on PlayStation as well. A lot of exclusives are going to be on both PS4 and PS5. So there's even less of an argument to be made for having to upgrade.
Yeah.
But having said that, I would argue that the first year of the PS5's launch has been flipping brilliant for games, as has the Xbox Series X. There have been so many fantastic games released over the past year, because it's pretty much a year now, isn't it, since both those systems launched. And on the PS5 side, there's been a number of exclusives. You've got Demon's Souls, you've got Returnal, you've got Ratchet and Clank. Again, as Peter said,
Was
not
Miles
for
Morales
everyone.
a PS5 exclusive as well?
PS4 as well.
Oh, was it?
It's on PS4 too. But even so, playing it on playing those games on PS5 is the best way to experience them, because it's just a more powerful console. And that is really, I think, what people need to understand about the next gen is that, yes, it's going to take some time before last gen support is taken away, and we really start to see what some of these consoles, can actually do. But we have seen that to an extent already with some of these games, and the graphical capabilities are going to be incredible. But right now, the differences you're seeing are in load times, in performance, and just various quality of life things that, as Ashton's pointed out, you probably won't notice unless you're swapping between current and last gen. There's just, I think that people maybe have to change their expectations slightly in terms of what they think that they're going to get. I think that the PS5 and Xbox Series X are wonderful systems, and they're just not necessary for everyone right now. So that might be it. But I guarantee you, Freddie, if you talk to your friends or your brother after taking away their PS5 or whichever next-gen system they have and giving them the previous one and asking them to play the same games they've been playing on that, they will want that PS5 back.
100%.
Because it's just... It's more of a... It's difficult to put into words. It's not an incremental step up. The PS5 and Xbox Series X are infinitely more powerful than the Xbox One and the PS4, and even the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. That's it, isn't it? Yes, sure. that was their 0.5 iteration. They're infinitely more powerful than that, but it just so happens that while we're in this weird shared space between games coming out on both systems way longer than they've ever done in previous generations, the visual differences certainly are not going to be that different. And they may not have the games out yet exclusive to those systems that interest those people in particular. But yeah, take away their next gen console and give them a last gen one and see how they find it. And there's a good chance that they will understand why the next gen one is quite as special as it is. But it's still so early. Yeah. And this is no different than any other console generation.
No, that's the thing.
It's been a really strong first year. And if you had a PS4 at launch, if you had a PS3 at launch, if you had an Xbox 360 at launch, you would know that the first year was just kind of rubbish. It always is. And by comparison, this first year I think has been spectacular, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think it's been... I agree that there've been a lot of good games released, which in some ways you're right. It's kind of... That alone makes it better than other launches of certain games, certain consoles. But I'm still inclined to agree with Freddie that I think for a lot of people, there might not be a particular game that says you must buy a PS5 or you must buy an Xbox Series if you want to play that. Partly because of that multi-generational availability for most of these games. So even if a good and enticing game does come out, it might actually be available on PS4 depending on what your tastes are. So that's probably the difference, isn't it? It's just the length of time that things have been releasing on both generations.
It's that coupled with the stock availability, really. Because if PS5s were readily available and you could walk in to a shop and buy one physically today, I don't think people would build it up in their mind anywhere near as much or expect it to do more than previous console generations have done. And it has done more. Yeah. But it's not going to be for everyone, obviously. But just try, you just sort of need to temper expectations, I think, to an extent. And also work out, as you say, if now's the right time for you to jump in, because there's a good chance all the games you want are available on the system you already have. So
Yeah.
there we are.
Well, there we go.
Excellent. Well, let us know your thoughts, of course, in the comments below and on social media and that sort of stuff. Peter is going to tell you where.
Hello. Go to youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump to check out all of our content. That's our video uploads and, on YouTube, and also our streams on both YouTube and Twitch. When we are streaming on both of those platforms, we are modded by Lord Brotovich, Trowling Badger, and Mr. Black. Thank you, mods. Speaking of Twitch, if you've got Amazon Prime, part of that bundle of wonderful rewards.
Sorry, what?
Allegedly.
Bundle.
Is a Twitch sub that you can just spend on anyone. It won't cost you anything extra. So maybe spend that on us if you like. We've got Twitter and Facebook. That's twitter.com and facebook.com/Team TripleJump. You can head to Twitter for things like video and live stream announcements. And discussion points from the podcast as well. And Facebook for legacy video content that's being uploaded there, and occasional Facebook Lives too.
Go follow the page.
Thank you. Yeah, go follow the page.
If you don't mind.
Please do. Please. Thank you, Fraser, for looking after our Facebook for us and our Twitter.
Yes.
And finally, from me, patreon.com/Team TripleJump is where you can go to look at all of our Patreon tiers. There are lots of rewards there. It was changed semi-recently, and it just got more. It was just more value for money. We didn't take anything away. We just added new stuff. So go and have a look at that if you haven't yet.
Yeah, go on. Dare you.
Do it.
We have a website, TripleJet.mup. That's TripleJU.mp. On that website, you can find all kinds of things. If you want to find our Discord, you can go to TripleJet.mup/Discord, where we're modded by Jack, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. We also have this podcast. If you want to listen to it in its audio form, I've been watching, but you want to listen to it again because it was just so good. Then you can go to TripleJet.mup/podcast to find out where you can listen to it. All of our live stream VODs, if you missed one of the many live streams that we do a week, then you can go TripleJet.mup/VODs to watch all of our VODs. And we also have a shop where you can buy some sick merchies. I think we're all sporting merch today.
We are.
So sorry.
Beat me
I'm
up.
sorry.
What the hell?
I'm so sorry. You go to TripleJumpShop.com and find out about all new releases on Triple Jump Shop on Twitter. And why not tag us and Triple Jump Shop on Twitter in your pictures when you get your merch, and we'll give it a like.
Yeah.
If your merch is arriving.
You pitch your merch.
Send the merch.
Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at @PeterAustin and at Scrambled Ashton, and myself just on Twitter at @confused_dude.
Yeah.
We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday being the joint streams on YouTube, Monday, Tuesday,
Blaze
Wednesday,
it.
Friday being the solo streams on Twitch. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly, Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. The podcast is every Saturday. We do shows once every other week or thereabouts. Why not leave a review on iTunes or your platform of choice? It helps something to do with algorithms. TripleJump.gg if you want that virtual currency and the digital doodahs and the whiz-was and the thing-thangs and the
Tim
bundas,
Tams.
the Tim Tams and so on. The Tat Appeal is still running.
Yes.
You have time, but we are close to calling it. 19th of November
15
is the
days.
cutoff. If you want to send us some tat to be opened in a big video at the end of the year, worst games, that kind of stuff, do send it in ASAP.
We've already
There's
got
lots
quite a
of
lot.
boxes. I'm really excited.
We have lots of boxes. Some of you have already done it. And it's
I think we could
incredible.
make a seat out of how many boxes we've got.
Yeah, like an
Probably.
Iron Throne.
Like an Iron Throne
We probably could.
cardboard.
Ashton does lists now.
She do.
Announcement. Ashton do lists now.
Yeah.
She's been do lists for a while.
On
but they're
Monday.
Finally going out.
They're
Yeah.
going on the channel. We've got plenty now. So we've
They
started.
get better, I promise. The first one, I think, is like that was like the first one I ever recorded, so it is
We also
not
recorded
it's not
it
as
in this
best.
room, didn't we?
But no, I re-recorded that
Oh,
one
you
like 3
re-recorded
times.
it,
We had a little.
But they get better, I
we had a
promise.
little tutoring session.
Yeah, we
in
did.
here.
And then I had to re-record it anyway. So.
Well, she's doing very well. So go check out her lists on
It's a
the
good list. I
Monday.
enjoyed it. It's available on YouTube right now.
It is on the YouTube.
10 best Resident Evil villains?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Sorry, there's a pipe
Toilet
noise
flush.
upstairs. Mario Party Superstars. We did a Quip Scope. That's available on this podcast feed, or if you want to see some gameplay as well, it's on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Fun little party game for 4 friends. Still don't understand why you only have 4 players.
No.
Seems really stupid to me.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And these 2 flipping superstars raised a whole bunch of money for cats protection, and you guys at home did as well. Thank
the
you so
cats.
much for donating. £1,000 raised for Pawson players and cats protection. We're gonna go help out all those lovely little furry cats.
Was it
was actually-
1,004 pence?
£4.20.
£4.20,
and
yeah.
20 pence.
£1,004 and 20 pence. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. The
You say
dank
we
is-
did it, you guys did it.
Yeah.
So well done, you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ashton was like really suffering that day as well.
And now she's back
I
in,
was not
suffering
very
again.
well.
Just remember you going over and over again, just like, hey, no worries, Cara. And just like, just trying to be the Irish
Oh
cat.
no, you didn't do an Irish
No,
I
accent,
no,
did,
she
did
no,
you?
I didn't do
Okay,
an
good.
Irish accent.
But she kept calling me Cara because that was what the
was
script was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Cara.
Peter kept going, do you want me to take over the narration? I'd go, yes, please.
No, I'm fine, Mum.
Yes, please.
I'm fine. Well, there's just enough time to talk about the sponsor once more of this week, Peter.
Hit us
Well,
with it, Austin.
look, everyone's got together this week to talk about what we can all do as a planet to combat climate change.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the all the big name countries are there: UK, US, Japan, Russia. But perhaps the biggest star would be Riders Republic, who are there just saying, "Hey, let's all cycle everywhere. Don't go in your car because fumes and stuff." So we're sponsored by Riders Republic this week. Thanks, Riders Republic, for the sponsor. Right, bye everyone.